Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping in. Glad to see you here. I'm just gonna wait a few minutes waiting for people to come in. This live stream, we're gonna be covering the harsh reality of work-life balance and cybersecurity. We're also gonna cover last week's cybersecurity news, and we're gonna be going into the headlines, and I'll be providing my unbiased opinions and expertise on what's popping in the cybersecurity world. And I'm excited. I'm excited for this one because I actually prepared for this one a little bit more than I did my last one. Cybersecurity. What's up, Neil? Thanks for stopping in. He said, "Look, we showed up in my comments and on stream in one day." Yeah, man. I'm out there. I have I like to say stuff. What's up, Kuala? Thanks for stopping in. I think I said your name right. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping in. I said something else today in someone else's comments that I almost responded to. The only other comment that I made today was I said the notion that certifications don't build skills is a coping mechanism for laziness. And I stand by that. What's up, Fireball? Thanks for stopping in. What's my role in cybersecurity? I'm a full-time penetration tester. Specifically, I'm a consultant penetration tester. What's up, Paul? How's it going, man? Thanks for stopping in. Guys, just start coming in. We'll get started with the juice here in a few minutes. I'm just waiting for people to hop in. You guys see the title. It's about the harsh reality of work-life balance. And I got some things to say that a lot of people might not like, but I believe it to be the truth. I'm excited for it. Also, let me know if the music's too loud. I'm actually going to cut the music when I get into my rant because I'm going to repurpose it for YouTube. Spoiler alert. I am going to be putting these short rants, I guess. I'm calling them real talks, just me being real people. I'm repurposing on YouTube, so, and I don't want the audio in YouTube. I'll probably put in different audio, like different background music in those videos. Because I want to cut it up, because this is so on YouTube that's like you know, I want to cut some things out, because I'll be honest, guys, this isn't scripted, man. This is just me off the cuff. Which makes the live streams fun. So if you're here for the live stream, you get the raw deal. And you can always go back and watch the live streams. I don't mind you watching the raw thing, but YouTube videos needs a little bit more polish to it, so I'll cut out the ums and the pauses and all that. You currently at a private company? Yes, I'm at a private company. I work for a firm called Patrick Price. It's an auditing and pen testing firm. I'm on the pen testing side of things. I don't do cybersecurity audits. Although, now that I think about it, I do want to reach out and see if I can shadow one of the auditors just to get a perspective on how a cybersecurity audit looks like and to appreciate their hard work, because they be talking about audits all the time and I'm like not really understanding what's going on. Like, I understand cybersecurity, right? But like, I don't understand like the nitty gritty of like how hard an act, because they always talk about how audits are hard. That's like the company's, that's our motto. Audits are hard and you got to make it worth it. And I'm like, well, I want to understand like, why is it hard? How hard is it? And so that's one thing I want to do in the future. Now that I'm getting pretty settled in my current role as the pentester. What's up, Amon? Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for being here. Like I said, guys, we're going to do the harsh reality of work-life balance and cybersecurity, and then we're going to be covering the weekly cyber news. 2 shows in one thing, 1 hour live stream. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So, are you struggling with work-life balance and cybersecurity? Are you trying to break in cybersecurity, juggling work, life, and learning? Well, here's the truth, guys. If you want to succeed in this field, you have to make sacrifices. The competition is fierce, and this field isn't a 9 to 5. Welcome to the harsh reality of cybersecurity careers. So you're not going to make it if you treat this career as a hobby, right? If you're just doing a little bit of cybersecurity here, maybe an hour here, maybe a half hour here, every 3 days on the weekends. If you're trying to break in, you're definitely not going to break in that way. And if you're already in the field, you can probably survive, doing your 9 to 5 and put in your 8 hours of work and maybe occasionally doing a hack the box machine or whatever. But I argue that in the long run, that's not going to pay off if you're already in the field for multiple reasons. I did say that the competition is fierce. So there's, I don't know, probably thousands of people trying to break in the field at this point. And those people trying to break in are actually trying to take your job. This is a competition after all. And if you don't think you're in a competition, spoiler, you are. And if you're not a competitive person, that's okay. But the reality is you are in a competition with everybody else in the field, whether you like it or not. And that's just not in this field. That's every field. That's every profession. That's every walk of life. That's just the nature of life. I mean, literally, if you go out into nature, everything's a competition, right? And it's no different when you go into your profession. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not trying to beat everybody. I'm only trying to be better than myself. And that is true. But my argument is, if you study for 20 minutes a day, technically you got better every day, right? Technically you got better. You are a better person than you was yesterday. That is a fact. But if the person that's trying to go for the same position you are in studies or levels up 3 hours a day, they're gonna outpace you. They're gonna separate themselves from you, and they're gonna end up taking a job that you want. Okay, there are limited slots in cybersecurity. There's not infinite slots. The field, it was growing rapidly. It's starting to slow down, and it might even be recessing. And I actually have a podcast episode coming out soon where someone makes that argument. Stay tuned for that on the Hackers Cash podcast. So it might slow down. It's definitely slowing down, and it might even recess. So the whole millions and millions of unfilled jobs, that's a whole myth that I bought into. I felt like I was lied to. Like when I was in the Air Force active duty, I was assistant administrator. I'm like, oh, I'm going to make this transition into cybersecurity because there's endless opportunities. And while that might actually be true, there might actually be endless opportunities. In the long run, I would say in the short run, there are limited slots, okay? So if you're trying to break in anytime soon, then you really can't slow down. And if you're already in the field, like I said, you can probably slow down for a little bit, but in the long run, I don't think it's going to work. And the reason why I don't think it's going to work in the long run is because not only are you competing against other human beings for slots in this field, you're actually competing against AI, machines. And I don't know if you know this, but spoiler alert, machines don't get tired. They don't take breaks. They never have to sleep. They don't complain. They just do work. And I'm roping this back into the work-life balance because it takes a lot of effort to be versed in this field. it takes a lot of energy and effort. And a lot of people, I see on LinkedIn and anywhere else really, and they say, "Oh, burnout's not a badge of honor." And honestly, man, for me, I just take that notion and throw it in the trash. Like I think that's some of the worst advice out there. I was at DEF CON and someone asked me, "Hey, what's the best advice you can give me for someone who's young?" And my advice for them was take work-life balance and throw it in the trash. Because what's there to take a break from? You haven't built anything. There's nothing, there's no life to enjoy. I mean, maybe if you're already, well off in terms of wealth, then yeah, maybe you can enjoy life a little bit more. But if you're still in your building stage of your career, there's nothing to really enjoy, in my opinion. So, and you're not going to get ahead if you take breaks and you always are trying to find a vacation to do, or you need a self-healing day. And I think it's one of the biggest loads of crap that a lot of people are pushing out today. Like, oh yeah, you don't have to work hard, you don't have to put in the effort, you don't want to be a slave to your employer. And why you don't want to be a slave to your employer, you do want to have healthy boundaries between you and your employer, right? You don't want, like, if your employer is asking you to work over every day, then that's a problem. I'm not talking about putting in extra hours for your employer. While that does happen, and you should absolutely do that when that need happens, but if it continues on for a substantial amount of time, then that's a problem. So don't be afraid of putting a couple hours in after work. What I'm trying to say is, you want to put in the hours in for yourself, your skill set, because no one can take away your education. So always build up your skills, always build up your knowledge, and no one can take that away from you. And so I was talking about like sacrifices in cybersecurity, right? And what kind of sacrifices you got to make? Well, here's some that I made. I quit playing video games. I stopped playing fantasy football. I stopped watching football. I love football. I had stopped watching. Now I am gonna watch the Steelers game this weekend, but only because my family invited me to it, and it's my nephew's birthday, and I haven't seen my family for a hot minute. And to me, it's more like a family thing rather than a football thing. But that's probably gonna be the only game I want to watch, at least for the first half of the season. So don't be afraid to make sacrifices. Quit Netflix, quit Hulu, quit doom scrolling. Sticking with your comfort zone and instead of learning new skills, like stop doing the things. You have to constantly get uncomfortable, and that's how you grow and that's how you get better. And then here's a big one. Everyone's looking for shortcuts to success. Everyone is always trying to find like a way to like circumvent the hard work. And like I wrote a newsletter article, and I'll do a full video on this in the future about stop avoiding the hard work, because the secret's in the hard work. So what you want to do, replace your time wasters with healthy habits. So surround yourself with people who encourage you to work, like, instead of people who are like, oh, take it easy, you're working too hard. Dude, I can't stand people like that, because the truth is, this field is incredibly competitive. Replace your passive entertainment with active learning. So whether that's YouTube or a podcast or reading books, I like to read books or a course. Replace all your entertainment with stuff that's making you better. Your commutes and your workouts. Listen to podcasts that help you grow. Cybersecurity podcasts. I like to listen to a lot of business podcasts because there's a lot of lessons there. And I think business and cybersecurity are closely related to each other, which is why I focus on business a lot as a subcategory of expertise. And I have a podcast, shameless plug, to Hackers Cash. New episodes every Wednesday. And yeah, study, practice, and apply your knowledge every day. If you do it every day for multiple hours every day, if you're trying to break in, you will break in. And if you're already in the field, then you won't get replaced by either another human or by AI. So do the work now, reap the rewards later. You can expect that all your hard work is going to take time to pay off, okay? It's going to take multiple years of no rewards. Like, you're going to get your certifications, you're going to get your courses completed, but you might not find a job for 2, 3, 4 years. Okay, I grinded to be a pen tester for 5 years before I became a pen tester. Now, granted, I had to wait 5 years because I was under contract in the military, so I had no choice but to wait 5 years. So my payoff was 5 years, and it was worth it. Every hour I put in was totally worth it. And that's all I have to say about that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask your questions. I'm here to have a discussion. If you disagree, feel free to disagree. Right? There's some people that might be killing it out there, might be way further in life than me, that's not working as hard. And if you are, let me know how you're doing that, because a break would be nice. Oh, also, I did forget to mention this. It's okay to enjoy life, okay? I'm not saying like you got to be grinding 24/7. I'm not saying that. Burnout does happen. And during my studies, I did a vacation in Europe, right? Now, I didn't like force that vacation, but because the military sent me to Germany, I'm like, oh, I'm already here. I might as well just explore the rest of Germany. So I took some time off for that. But even then, like when I was traveling from country to country on a train or on a plane, I'm reading my CISSP book. And like as soon as I got back from that vacation, I took the CISSP. I remember I was in Venice and it's like 2 a.m. and I'm on vacation with my girlfriend at the time. And it's 2 a.m. She's sleeping on the bed and I'm doing schoolwork for my degree while on vacation at 2 a.m. And then we had to wake up at like 8 a.m. to go to our tour for, I don't know, one of the historic things that we scheduled ourselves for. And that's what I had to do. I mean, I got to enjoy life, but I found every little pocket of downtime to like study during that vacation. So I'm not saying don't enjoy life. Definitely enjoy life. If you got an opportunity to take a vacation, take the vacation. But I would say don't force the vacations. Don't look forward to the vacations. Like if they fall in your lap and you're like, oh, this is an opportunity, then like I would say take it. Because those are sometimes those are once in a lifetime opportunities, and you don't want to miss those. But yeah, use your weekends effectively and grow yourself. All right, guys, back to the questions. Let me catch up in the chat here. What's up, Death Bestower? Thanks for stopping in. I'm gonna turn the music back on while we're doing questions. What's up, Neo Fetch? Thanks for stopping in. What's up, man? I don't know how to say your name. Is it Yaha? Correct me if I'm wrong. Thanks for stopping in. Bro, this is so dystopian. What I said or the music? It's probably both. The music's definitely dystopian. This isn't a field where you can be lazy. You always got to be on top of things and study up on the current trends. Yeah. I still haven't bought my PS5 Pro. Dude, that's a fact. You know, when did I buy my PS5 Pro? I bought it right after I passed OSCP. Is when I bought my PS5. Not right after the fact, like maybe like a month later. But I got the OSCP in May 2023. No, I got it 4 months after the OSCP because I got the PlayStation in September when Mortal Kombat 1 came out. So yeah, I held off for a very long time on a PlayStation 5. And that wasn't a Pro, it was just like the regular PlayStation 5. I didn't own a TV. Guys, I didn't own a TV until I think November 2024 was when I bought a TV. Like, I was well established as a pen tester at that point in time. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I do need to take a break. And that's okay, because I was already in the field and I was already killing it. And I was like, I'll take a little bit of a break. But then I got tired of it, honestly. I felt worse playing video games. And I just got done with like a video game marathon a couple months ago. And while I had fun playing those games, I kind of regret it. I'm like, man, I could have been grinding. I'm thinking about going to OSWA before OSCP. Are the labs and video content very good? So I have both the certifications. I think the OSCP labs are much better because there's more of them. OSWA doesn't have as many labs. It has like a fraction of the labs, which is my biggest gripe about OSWA. They're good, but for me, I mean, you could be different, and some people are. For me, the reason why I passed OSCP on the first try was because I did 40 machines before the exam. I failed OSWA 3 times before I passed it on my 4th try because there was only 8 machines to practice on. So I'm the kind of person that needs a lot of reps. I don't get it. I don't get things immediately. It might look like I do because I crank out certs pretty fast, but the truth is, like, I spend a lot of time doing it. And maybe you can have a better work-life balance than me if you're a genius and you can just grasp concepts the first time you see them. But that's not me. That's not me, and that's one of the reasons why I gotta put in stupid amounts of hours. But OSWA before OSCP, I mean, you can. I don't see a problem with that. I did OSCP before OSWA. I think OSCP before OSWA might be better unless you really are trying to dial in on that web app pen testing stuff and like that's where your passion is. 100% go OSWA first and then go OSCP. But if you're just trying to be a general pen tester, I would say OSCP might be better. They're both gonna burn you out. They're both gonna be exhausting. It's a lot of work. Expect to spend hundreds of hours on both of those. I don't have a time estimate for OSWA, but I failed it 3 times and I went through the course probably like 7 times. So it's got to be at least the same amount as OSP, if not more. And OSCP, I put in 400 hours of prep, not counting the exam time. I put in another 17 hours into the exam. Games are something I need to stop, to be honest. Yeah, dude. I will admit, I played a video game with my brother yesterday, but I'm using those as like ways to like talk to my brother, because like we don't talk if we don't play the game together. And we're playing Borderlands Remaster, and I spent more time like talking about what I got going on in life than we did on the video game. So that's a way for me to connect with my brother. And I haven't played a video game by myself for a while, and honestly, when I play video games by myself, I feel like I truly am wasting my time. And I might actually jump on the game with him today, because I did knock out all my critical tasks for the day. This is my last critical task of the day. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say critical tasks, I'm a huge fan of the Andy Frisella Real AF podcast. Huge fan of it. Listen to it every day, multiple episodes per day. I'm trying to catch up because I didn't discover the show until like a little over a year ago. And he talks about the power list, and the basic concept is the power list is like you write down 5 critical tasks, you do those 5 tasks every single day, and then once you do your 5 tasks, like you can do whatever you want for the rest of the day, and that's okay. Like that's what I'm talking about with work-life balance. Like, the real work-life balance is getting your stuff that you need to get done. Don't avoid the hard work. Put in the hard work. And then, yeah, go ahead and enjoy something. And go ahead and... Well, here's one mistake that I made early in my grind phase. And I'm still in the grind phase, by the way. But before I was active duty military, before I was in the military, before I was in my current position, I wasn't working out a lot, and I had to stay in a certain level of fitness just to be in the military, right? That's just part of the job. Like, you have to be fit, but I wasn't as fit as I could be, and I've been really doubling down on my fitness. I've been doing 75 hard. Once again, shout out Andy Frisella, Real AF podcast. I'm on day 23. If you guys don't know what 75 hard is, it's been good to me. But I'm like way more alert now because like I can think better. My mental, I can focus better. I'm less tired. I'm sore from the workouts, but my mind is so much more sharper. That was a long rant about how I had to quit playing video games. Do you guys set up preceded AI agents to monitor your running pen tests? Negative. We don't use AI in our pen tests. And Burp Suite, they rolled out the AI feature, and our company took a policy like, don't use that, so we don't use it. Now, I will admit, I will use ChatGPT to help me write the report, right? Like if I don't know how to phrase something a certain way, like I'll use ChatGPT to help me phrase it to get my point across it more clearly and better. I do use AI for that. How can entry-level cybersecurity students choose the right path? Like how find the specific field to go deep in, like web, DFIR? I have a whole video on this on my YouTube channel. I highly recommend you watching it. But here's the point of that, the gist of that video is the fundamentals are the same no matter what role you're in. So you don't need to pick a role right now, okay? You don't need to pick a role right now. You just need to get the fundamentals. When I say fundamentals, I'm talking about security basics. I'm talking about security plus level stuff. Networking basics, network plus level stuff. IT basics, A+ level stuff. I like CompTIA certifications for that reason, because it's good foundations. And you also need to know your Linux basics. There's not very few roles don't need Linux, so definitely learn Linux. And you need cloud basics as well, and you need programming basics as well. And if you get programming, cloud, network, security basics, and what else did I say? Linux. Those 5 things, those are what I would consider the fundamentals. 5 fundamentals. And if you want to order like what order operations here, here's how I would start it out. I would go get your networking basics first, get your security basics second, then get your Linux basics, then get your cloud basics, then get your programming basics. And once you got all that, at that point, you should have an idea of what kind of role interests you. And if you don't, then you need to figure it out, because you can't really figure out where to go after that. But focus on the basics first. And if you're having trouble at that point trying to figure a role, the best thing you can do is just interview people, like reach out to people and ask them what's it like being in a role. I happen to have a podcast where I talk with a lot of offensive security professionals called the Hackers Catch Podcast. I have a lot of videos about how to be, like, what's it like being a pen tester, the good and the bad. And feel free to ask me questions about pen testing, but that's my specialty. How many hours did you usually spend studying cybersecurity while you were in college? So when I was in the military, I was a full-time college student when I was doing my master's degree, but I also had a full-time job. So I've never not had a full-time job. And I've still managed to crank out 2 degrees and 18 certifications. But here's what a typical day would look like, right? I'd wake up in the morning, put my uniform on, go to work, put in my 8 hours a day, maybe sometimes 9, come home and take the uniform off, make some coffee. And I'm talking about, like, I'm drinking coffee at 5, 6, 7, 8 p.m., dude. And I might drink coffee until like 9. I cut myself off caffeine to this day at 9 o'clock. I still drink caffeine until 9 o'clock because I need all the energy I can get to go to midnight, 1 in the morning. And yeah, I would put in 3 to 5 hours every single day. I don't want to say every single day. There was obviously days where I would skip, but very rarely would I skip. And I would say the days that I slacked on, I put in like an hour, maybe 2. And I would consider that a slack day. So that was my typical day. I did that for 5 years. And I still do that to this day. I get off work. Here was my last week's typical day. Do my 8 hours of pen testing, get off work, go do my workout, eat, and then study for my certifications that I'm working on. And then I'd make content on the weekends. I don't study on the weekends anymore because the weekends I have to make all my content on the weekends. So I'm studying less than I used to because of the content. but I have to keep studying, otherwise I'm not going to have more content to make. So I think a good goal, if you're working 8 hours a day, I think a good goal is 3 to 5 hours every day. On the weekends, if you don't got something crazy going on, like you don't have like a family reunion, if it's just like a random boring day, like a boring weekend, then you should aim for like 8 to 12 hours a day on the weekends. And that's what I did. And your relationships will suffer. That's a fact. But the people who really love you is going to understand. Like, my parents don't resent me for not talking to them every day, right? I'll go a month, maybe multiple months without even talking to them. Same thing with my brother. You know what I mean? They understand. Yeah, next question. Sorry, I'm getting buried by these questions, guys. I'm taking a long time to answer these. What's up, Priyanka? Thanks for stopping in. I'm finding that actual experience doing my own thing on the side is a hell of a lot better than certs. However, yeah, work-life balance doesn't exist in Cyber. Yeah, I mean, there's an argument there to be made, like, doing your stuff on the side is better than certs. I can understand that, especially for you, like, who already has certs. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a bunch of certs, like, then I can understand the argument, like, not going for more certs. I still like them. I love them. That's how I learn the best. But when I say certs are where it's at, like, I'm talking about like people with like less than 5. Like, I think less than 5 certifications isn't enough to break in cybersecurity, but that's my hot take. Because if you look at job descriptions and job postings, there's like at least 5 certs listed on every posting. You deserve the breaks, bro. You're not a Deegan like me at the moment. Trying to study for the PMPT in game is just not for me anymore. Took a few tries on the PJPT to get it. What's up, Echoverse? Look, you are a human being after all, but like, here's my argument. So here's what I'm trying to say. Like, you do need to take breaks, okay? But going out of your way to take breaks is what I'm against. Like, for example, don't like, yep, I'm gonna waste a whole weekend just because I'm tired. Like, that's not a good reason. But because life is gonna happen and it's gonna force you to take breaks no matter what, right? Like, what makes me take breaks? Okay, on Sunday we're getting a little family get together because it's my nephew's birthday. That's a break for me that I'm kind of forced into because my family invited me to an event and we're gonna watch football. That's gonna be a break for me. But I'm not like waiting for the weekend to like sleep in and relax. And speaking of sleeping in, I do sleep in a lot because I stay up till 2-3 in the morning doing my studies or making content, whatever I'm doing. But your breaks are gonna come. I would say, you know, for me, I let myself get burnout. I purposely try to get the burnout because that's when I know that, okay, take a break because I'm burned out now, and then take a time out and then get back at it. Work-life balance. Oh, as a SOC analyst, I work shifts and sometimes work 7 to 10 days straight, depending on what our clients was asking us to cover. Yeah. Dang. See, I don't have that. As a pen tester, as a consultant, I'm working 9 to 6 p.m. every day, very consistently. Sometimes I'll have to do more hours, but if that's the case, it's because I slacked somewhere during the week and I didn't manage my time correctly. So I still ultimately put in, 8 hours a day. And then I've been asked to work a night shift, which I volunteered for, and to do like 60 hours in 1 week too. But it's not very often that does pop up. Would you say that bug bounty requires all that you mentioned? Man, I'll be honest, I don't know much about bug bounties. I don't have any. I've never even tried to do bug bounty. I like the whole full-time pen testing stuff. That's what I pursued, and that's what I know the most, and that's what I am really speaking to when it comes to like breaking in, because anybody, you don't need to break into bug bounty, right? Anybody can do bug bounty, but bug bounty is, you know, there's a good chance that you won't get paid for your work. You know what I mean? If you don't find a bug, like, you're not getting paid, and that's going to make you hunt better. And there's an argument that bug bounty hunters are better than full-time pen testers, and you know, I would actually probably agree with that, because as a pen tester, like, yeah, I'm looking for bugs, I'm looking for things, but my paycheck isn't dependent on it. You know what I mean? So I think there's a little bit built-in slack there as a full-time pen tester, because, like, you know what I mean? I mean, like, I'm doing the best I can, but like, the second I hit a wall, like, oh, I'm gonna take a break and back to work-life balance. Like, I'm not talking about like staring at the screen all day, dude. Like, take a break, go take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to go get a plate of food or go get a drink. You know what I mean? Like, I do that all the time. I get up out of my chair and walk around and eat food and get my drinks multiple times a day. What I'm talking about is, like, you just want to put in the work every day, right? You don't want to take entire days off, okay? And sometimes, you know, I'll take an hour break to go do whatever, and that's okay. How much of web development front-end and back-end language have you learned, and how useful is it for your position? I'm in the stage where I want to start building a website for myself, but I'm unsure how to balance learning what I need to build a website with how much it will be practical for a career setting. What's up, Luke? Thanks for stopping in. Good question, but I unfortunately can't give you the answer because I'm not a web developer. I haven't gotten into web development at all. I don't know much about the front end and back end languages, to be honest with you, to like code a website. Now, I did build kyserclerk.com with Wix. That's how I built that website. And yeah, I don't have no web development experience. My main language is Python, and I like to script and bash. Python and bash scripts are like my two things that I do. Everything else, I vibe code. But I would say it's not super required. You don't need to be a front end or a back end developer to like exploit SQL injection in a web app. I exploit SQL injection just fine, not knowing how those languages are working on the back end, if that helps you with your position as a pen tester. As a IT cybersecurity student and early career professional, what type of early entry roles should I pursue to transition to industry that will eventually lead to a junior pen tester role? Sysadmin, top tier type of role for future pen testers. That's my background. If you want to be a web app pen tester, I would say the web development is probably a good place to go if you want to be a web app pen tester. But you don't need to have web development to be a web app pen tester. I'm proof of that. I came from a sysadmin background. Network engineer is a good one. Help desk is even a good one. What other ones? I mean, those are really the only ones I can think of for like entry-level tech roles. SOC analyst. If you can get in a SOC analyst role, that's a good position to be in to go into pen tester route. Like, you might need to go sysadmin, SOC analyst, pen tester. I went from sysadmin straight to pen tester. I was never a SOC or cybersecurity analyst. But SOC and cybersecurity analyst is a very valid step. And there's actually more cybersecurity and SOC analyst roles out there compared to pen testing roles. So your chance of breaking in that way is a lot easier because the competition is less fierce, because there's less people that's trying to be a SOC analyst, because everyone wants to be a pen tester, because let's be honest, pen testers are cool. And there's more jobs for SOC analysts. More companies need SOC analysts than pen testers, and that's just a fact. So you're more likely to find a SOC analyst than pen testing position. And I'm not saying that to discourage you from being a pen tester, but I'm just saying it's a valid step. A good in between like your help desk, sysadmin, network engineer role to pen tester. Oh yeah, he said I'm on Twitch though. That guy probably over on YouTube. Yeah. So for those who don't know, I'm multi-streaming to Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and LinkedIn. 4 different platforms at once. So if you see me responding to a comment that you don't see in your chat, that's why. And that's why I read the questions out loud before I answer them, so you know what was said. Man, that took up a lot of time. I didn't expect it to take that much time. Let's go ahead and dive into the cybersecurity news. I got caught up in the questions. I'll get back into the chat after we do the cybersecurity headlines here. So let's go. There we go. So the news, my favorite news source, is the CISO series cybersecurity headlines, as you can see here. So shout out to the cybersecurity headlines team and Steve Prentice for doing this. I love the show. Listen to the cybersecurity headlines literally every single day. Well, except for the days they don't release episodes, which is like Saturday and Sunday. First headline here: Citrix RCE flaw under active exploitation. Citrix released updates for NetScaler ADC and gateway devices to address a vulnerability that allows for remote code execution. The Shadow Server Foundation reports there are over 28,000 vulnerable devices online, with about 35% located in the US. Citrix did not provide any mitigations, workarounds, or indicators of compromise. CISA and Citrix found evidence that these are already being exploited by malicious actors, and the flaw has already been added to the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. Federal agencies have until August 28th to patch, and we're already past August 28th. So, I mean, this right here, this, in my opinion, is standard stuff. To me, this isn't like groundbreaking news. This is kind of like patch management 101, right? You got to pay attention to what's being exploited. You have to pay attention to what you're using and where these vulnerabilities pop up. And this is just yet another thing where new vulnerabilities were discovered and you got to rush out and patch it. And that's going to be cybersecurity for the rest of your life. That's just how it is. So to me, this isn't really groundbreaking. And you definitely need to be concerned if you've got a Citrix device. But if you don't have a Citrix device, then you don't got to really worry about this if you're a cybersecurity professional. But there's a lot of Citrix devices out there. So, yeah, patch your stuff. Patch management 101. Pay attention to the exploits that are happening in the wild and patch your stuff where possible. Next headline: when NDA stands for new download attack. Researchers at Checkpoint detailed a new campaign where threat actors deliver malware to American industrial and tech firms disguised as non-disclosure agreements. The threat actors initially approached victims through their contact us forms, posing as potential business partners and maintaining communication for several weeks. Eventually, they will ask the firm to sign an NDA, sent as a zip archive on Heroku, but containing a custom malware called Mixshell. This appears to be a highly tailored approach. In some instances, the threat actors sent completely innocent zip files, seemingly depending on the victim's IP address or browser information. The threat actors set up fake websites using domains tied to real US businesses for added veracity. So this is an interesting attack, and if you're a business out there, like, you have to really pay attention to who you're doing business with, right? Especially if it's coming from a contact us form on your website. Like, any form that comes in, like, it needs to be heavily scrutinized, right? Especially from a third party, right? This is supply chain 101. Definitely look at your stuff before you start running it on your systems. And even business partners need to be evaluated. You need to treat business partners and potential business avenues and customers as threat actors, because they can actually pretend like they are trying to want to partner up with you or do business with you or, pay you money, or if they're a customer, and really they're a threat actor. So this is hard to deal with because I know everybody wants to do business. Everyone wants to grow their business. Everyone wants money. Everyone wants customers. But you definitely need to heavily scrutinize, like, who are we doing business with? You know what I mean? Do background checks on the company, the organization that's wanting to do business with you, and scrutinize every document that they send you, because it's a scam until proven otherwise. That's the wrong cam. There we go. South Korea Telecom punished for security bundle. Following up on a story we covered in May, South Korea's SK Telecom has been fined the equivalent of $97 million after the country's privacy commission found that the mobile giant had left its network wide open to hackers through a catalog of bundles. The breach had been announced in April. Hackers had gained access to the Universal Subscriber Identity Module, USIM, data of almost 27 million subscribers. The country's Personal Information Protection Commission, PIPC, said that the country's biggest carrier did not even implement basic access controls between its internet-facing systems and internal management network. It's added that SK failed at almost every layer of defense, including dumped thousands of server credentials and plain text on a management network server. A more complete accounting of this incident is available. It's just the link. Okay. So yeah, South Korea telecom company, major telecom. They're the biggest telecom provider in South Korea, and having a breach, I mean, to seeing them get punished, I mean, that's the headline, is good, right? I think major companies should be held accountable for mishandling your information, right? Because it is the role of government is to protect citizens after all. And then when an organization such as a large telecom wants to not protect their customers' data, then that's not good. And this is like one of the few instances where I agree that, like, yeah, government should hit you with a penalty, because if they don't, then there's no incentive to protect customer data, because most customers, they can't just leave their carrier and go to another one more times than not. There's, these big companies, like these tech giants, they kind of have a monopoly on the tech, and it's hard to go from, to a smaller provider if they mishandle your information. So I think this is cool to see personally, and I also wish the US would hit US companies with hefty fines and harsh penalties for mishandling our data, because I mean, our data, just as a US citizen, we're just getting thrown out to the wolves, and the government's really not doing anything to protect our data. And like, I'm not trying to get political, but generally speaking, I'm not really for government restrictions, but I do think that there should be a penalty if an organization, a business, a company mishandles your private and personal information. Because when you do business with someone, it's expected that they're going to secure your data, and that should be a given. And it's no different than if someone walked up to someone on the street and punched them in the face. Like, you're going to get arrested. There's a penalty for that, right? Because you intruded on someone's well-being, and that the data is no different. And I think data needs to be treated the same way. So there should be harsh penalties for companies exposing their customers' data. Moving on. I'm laughing because it's funny. Steganography isn't a dinosaur. Researchers revive it in an AI injection attack. Security researchers at Trail of Bits, Kiki Moravzova, sorry if I butchered your name, Sua Sabi Hussein has uncovered a new attack that hides malicious prompts inside everyday images. The method called an image scaler attack exploits the fact that most AI tools automatically shrink pictures before analyzing them. At full size, the images look harmless, but once downloaded, hidden instructions appear telling the AI to leak data or execute commands. It's an updated spin on steganography, the art of hiding secrets in images, but it's engineered to exploit how AIs process images. The researchers warned this could be used for prompt injection attacks. Dude, my first thought is that this is cool. This is actually a cool attack. It's scary and it's dangerous, but very interesting. And I think whoever found this, I can't say their names, but kudos to you for discovering this, because that's pretty sweet. And I think, yeah, pat on the back for that. That's really cool. And this is just one of the new things when it comes to AI. There's going to be more things that's coming out with AI all the time, and this is just another chapter in the AI vulnerabilities that we're going to be exposing over the long haul of AI's growth. But this is cool, and I'm hoping our AI engineers who are implementing and working on AI, they take these kind of reports very seriously, because that's not good if your AI agent is taking in pictures and running malicious code and then becoming exploited because of it. So be careful if you are accepting images with your AI. And yeah, I'm not sure what the solution here is to that, because it's like, I'm not an AI expert, but maybe the solution is don't shrink images after the AI processes them. That's going to cause more processing power, but that's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, but that's really cool. Moving on, we have DoD using software maintained by Russians. A new report from Hunted Labs found that open source tool FastGlob is solely maintained by a Yandex employee based in Russia. This helpful tool enables developers to perform actions on a group of files without requiring additional code. It's a highly useful tool that the U.S. Department of Defense utilizes at least 30 pre-built software packages, as well as approximately 5,000 other projects globally, resulting in around 70 million downloads per week. Hunted Labs researchers found no malicious code in FastGlob and contacted the DoD's Office of Chief Information Officer. That's hard to say. Office of Chief Information Officer. 3 weeks before publishing findings. Over the summer, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, I hope I'm saying that right, signed a memo directing DoD to not procure any hardware or software susceptible to adversarial foreign influence. So yeah, that's a good start. This is definitely a hot headline because Russia and US aren't exactly allies, but I don't see a problem here, because like they said that there's no malicious code in the Yandex. Sorry, FastGlob, which is maintained by Yandex. And if there's no malicious code, then it's all as well, right? But if you download the update to FastGlob, then it needs to be re-evaluated, heavily scrutinized. But yeah, that's good advice. Don't procure any hardware or software susceptible to adversarial foreign influence, and that goes for everybody. So this goes back to the supply chain, what we were talking about earlier. Like, everything that you bring in your organization needs to be evaluated. Moving on to the next headline, Anthropic warns about vibe hacking. The AI company released a new threat intelligence report which warns that agentic AI systems are being weaponized. The report profiled a threat actor using Claude Code to run data exploitation operation end-to-end, which targeted at least 17 organizations across various verticals within a month. Anthropic's cloud chatbot was used for everything from technical consultation to crafting psychologically targeted extortion demands. The report also detailed the use of Claude by North Korean IT workers to get jobs at Fortune 500 US companies and saw ads for romance scams using its chatbot on Telecom. While Anthropic created a new controls to prevent similar types of abuse, it warned that the examples it found likely reflect consistent patterns of behavior across all frontier AI models. Man, vibe hacking is a thing. And then, you know, honestly, I don't think it's a headline because, like, bro, we've been vibe hacking for a while. Like, if you go watch like my Hack the Box live streams, like I'm vibe hacking all the time. I'm like ChatGPT, like, how do I do this? How do I exploit this? And offset, like in our certification exams, they banned the use of AI because vibe hacking is actually a thing. So I don't think this is a really groundbreaking news, but I do think that it's going to get easier and easier to vibe hack. Same thing with vibe coding. But when it comes to vibe coding, right, ChatGPT, they excellently has insecure code. And when it comes to vibe hacking, at least right now, like ChatGPT gets a lot of things wrong, right? Like you're not gonna solve a hack to box machine or break into a box just by vibe hacking, unless it's like grossly insecure. But if it's grossly insecure, then like a novice hacker was going to be able to break into it anyways. So I don't think it's a headline too much. I don't think it's groundbreaking news, but the warning here is like it's gonna get worse, right? Vibe hacking is gonna get easier and easier and easier, and less skilled people are gonna be able to compromise you, and that is concerning. So it's going to be easier to break into networks and systems, and there's going to be more threat actors out there because when things become easier, more people join that thing. So once being a threat actor becomes easier, more people are going to become threat actors. So that's the real warning here. Vibe hacking, I think, kind of obvious, but it's lowering the barrier to entry to becoming a real threat actor, and that's concerning because now we have way more threats to defend against. Moving on to the next and final headline: North Korean remote worker scheme boosted by generative AI. The U.S. Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, has announced new sanctions against 2 individuals and 2 entities for their role in North Korean remote IT workers scheme, in which overseas IT workers enabled malware, steal data and credential, and demand ransoms. A report published Wednesday from Anthropic shows how this operation used generative AI powered tools like Claude to create convincing professional backgrounds and technical portfolios, tailor resumes to specific job descriptions, and even deliver actual technical work. Anthropic stated the most striking finding is that Anthropic stated the most striking findings is the actors' complete dependency on AI to function as technical roles. These operators do not appear to be able to write code, debug problems, or even communicate professionally without Claude's assistance, yet they're successfully maintaining employment at Fortune 500 companies, according to public reporting, passing technical interviews, and delivering work that satisfies their employers. Man, come on, man. Like, I just don't see how, as a company, like, you're not doing background checks on the people who's applying to the company or the people you're bringing in, and like you're not talking to them face to face. I mean, I know deepfakes are a thing, but come on, man. Like, you're just letting these people work without like any supervision. I understand like you don't want to micromanage employees, bro, but like when they first come in, like you should be like having the pulse on them, right? You can't let them run loose. And like, yeah, they're completing tasks and all this stuff, but I mean, you got to talk to your people, even if it's a remote position, face to face with the camera on. You should be interviewing people face to face with the camera on. Like I said, deepfakes are there, but deepfakes aren't perfect, man. They can be pretty realistic, but I think to the trained eye, you can tell what a fake video is. But it is hard, so I will give them benefit of the doubt there. But the thing is, like, look at the backgrounds, bro. Like, if there's no history, like if they're creating fake IDs, like, I don't know. I understand you can steal a person's identity and roll with that, but you just got to do your due diligence when you're hiring people in this field and in any position. And I would say, most recruiters and hiring managers, they're not cybersecurity professionals. So, for example, if you're running a bank, like the recruiters is not going to be super savvy when it comes to cybersecurity. So, I think the solution here is like we need to train. You need to train the average person on like these threats. Okay. And you can't. It's not business as normal anymore. It's not like the world changed. AI changed the world forever, and everyone needs to get training on how to spot deepfakes, how to spot fake workers who are applying to the position. And dude, you ever scroll? Who scrolled on Facebook and like they'll see like an AI video? It's clearly AI generated. Like, and people are eating it up. Like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. It's like, bro, like, do these people not realize it's AI? There's people out there that don't realize it's AI. I don't know. I mean, I use a lot of AI, so I can definitely, because I generate a lot of things with AI. A lot of my images that I generate for my thumbnails and stuff is AI generated. Actually, almost all of the backgrounds are AI generated because I'm not an artist. I have an idea and I had the AI make it for me. But yeah, I can tell when things are AI generated, and because I use it a lot, but I guess most people don't, and that's a really scary part to me. It's like, man, why are so many people so oblivious to like the AI, and like why are people not using AI to like get ahead? And that's what concerns me. This is a off topic, but I mean, there's so many people that's gonna get replaced by AI, and they're like not, they don't even know it because they're not paying attention to it. And even these positions where they they're not in a tech role, like you still need to understand AI. All right, let's go ahead and go back to the questions here. Back in the chat here. Welcome everybody who just joined in. Got a question for you, Kyser, when you have a moment. Go ahead and ask. Oh, maybe this is it. Trying to get into cybers. I have Net Plus, Sec Plus, SQL SA Plus, and Cisco Ethicalhacker. That's a good start. And if you're having issues, and you have what 1, 2, 3, 4 certs. This is why I tell people to get 5 certs or more. You need to have like 6, 7, 8, 9 certs. So my solution is that this is my advice. A lot of people will tell you that certs don't matter, but I would say get more certs because you're just scratching the surface. None of those are really that in depth. I mean, I know you worked incredibly hard for all 4 of those certs, and none of those are easy, but it really is just the basics. I have all those certs, by the way. And yeah, I don't think a person that has all those certs can go in and do the work in the real world. Like, you need to get more advanced technical certs. Go get hands-on certifications, ones that aren't multiple choice. Those are all multiple choice question certifications, which is great for the foundation. I love them. I liked all those certifications except for maybe the oh, you said Cisco Ethicalhacker, not the CEH. I never did Cisco Ethicalhacker. I did the CEH. But Cisco Ethicalhacker is not even a certification, actually. It's just like it's not a real certification. I could be wrong, but as far as I know, there's not an exam for it. I looked into it. I don't think it's a cert. It's more like a course. But that's another debate I have. People are calling certificates of completion certification. It's like, no, unless you did a proctored exam or like a proctored exam or an exam that requires a report, because there are like TCM Security and Hack the Box and Try Hack Me. Like, they have exams, but they're not proctored, but they require reporting. What's up, Zero Saber? Thanks for stopping in. Glad to see you here. What's up, Echoverse? Did I say what's up, Echoverse? I think I did already. Sorry, there's a lot of people here. You guys are the real MVPs. Thanks for showing, guys. You guys are great. They say Jairus. I'm gonna turn the music back on. They say GRC is more life-work balance friendly. I'm IT specialist for a college and it's pretty good balance here. SOC or incident response are the worst probably. SOC and incident response is absolutely the worst. GRC, yeah, that makes sense, that work-life balance. Pentesting is a consultant's pretty good work-life balance in my opinion. And when I say, so I talked about this, I'm gonna just reiterate it, because when I say work-life balance, like my job technically is a work-life balance because I work 9 to 6 on a very consistent schedule and I don't have to really work outside those hours hardly ever. And when I do, like, it's something I volunteered for and something that's completely necessary, and I will volunteer for it if I need to. What I'm talking about is, like, you need to spend more time after work leveling up, because when you're in the job, like, yeah, you're learning stuff, but you're not really taking time to learn new stuff, because as a pen tester, like, I'm seeing the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. I'm not really leveling up until I like challenge myself more. I only wanted the stream to be an hour. We're a little over an hour, so sorry for not delivering my promise, but there was a lot of questions today, and I want to make sure I answer everyone's questions. What's up, Fireball Fofo 2? The only way to create a buffer feature is to know about the human, which is to mine their data, so it's privacy. It's nice contrast between right and wrong, because we have the key to make things better or worse. Also, a good way to control the marketing, other stuff. If you want to go that route as well. I'm not sure what that means. Privacy is a myth. It's starting to become a myth, yeah. I mean, it kind of is. You're right. I agree with you. The more time goes on, the less private we become. I'm gonna turn off this because that light's really bright. There's a good video about this on YouTube with Mad Max. He goes to search like S tier, A tier, B tier, etc. What's good for the money. I'm gonna do a video like that eventually. Stay tuned. I have ideas for that. I actually already made the tier list. I just ain't recorded it yet. Vibe hacking is really bad for understanding concept. Vibe hacking equals script K. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're absolutely right. But the point is that vibe hacking is people are gonna get compromised from vibe hackers. People have been compromised by script kiddies, and vibe hacking is an even lower level than script kiddie, because script kiddies still have to have a basic level of knowledge to like be effective, and then what vibe hacking does is make it even easier than what script kiddies were doing. If people were compromised by script kiddies, people are gonna get compromised by vibe hacking. Kyser, with my current job, I have a special project coming up, hopefully just getting approval. Hopefully, if I were to help a team which does ICS SCADA firewalls and work with things like Cisco, almost all security, and even though this is a temp project, do you think this will help benefit me on resume for cybersecurity position? I have a special project coming up, getting approval, help with team with ICS SCADA firewalls. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you're dealing with firewalls, and that's security, so yeah, that's a great project for you. I actually did something very similar to that. I did a before I did my first pen test, I did a firewall audit, I guess is the best way to put it, or like a assessment of the firewall's configuration. And yeah, it's on my resume as we speak. Like, if you go to my LinkedIn or you check out my resume, like, that bullet point's there. Absolutely a great bullet point for you for a resume. It's a good resume builder for sure. Anytime if you're doing anything with firewalls, yeah, it's great. I know some business owners that don't care about cyber at all. They just are small, but it's still wild to me that some just don't care. Well, I mean, they don't care because they don't understand the threats, for one, and two, like, business is extremely difficult, and if you're a small business, like, you're just hanging on by a thread. You're just trying to survive, and you don't have a whole lot of extra money to throw in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is expensive, right? We got almost everybody in cybersecurity making 6 figures. And yeah, it's expensive to hire a consultant. It's expensive to hire a full-time cybersecurity position. And that's just how cybersecurity is expensive, because it takes a lot of skills and it takes a lot of expertise to get someone that knows what they're doing And that's one of the reasons why it's hard to break in. That's one of the reasons why I say work-life balance is a myth, because you have to know a lot of things about a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, there's business owners, you're right. It's not on the front of their mind because it's not something they want to think about. And I don't really blame them. Like, I'm not a lawyer, right? Like, if I was starting a business, like, I would think about, like, oh yeah, I need to be, caught up legally, but I don't want to pay for a lawyer because lawyers are expensive. But it's like a necessary tool, but you can technically do business without it. But if you start a business and you don't have like the legal things in place, then like you could have the IRS come after you because you missed some taxes. You could have someone sue you because you didn't set up something the right way or whatever. And that's a threat that small businesses will take because lawyers are expensive, just like cybersecurity professionals are expensive. And as businesses grow, cybersecurity becomes more important to them, because then they realize, like, oh yeah, like if I don't secure my stuff, I'm gonna get taken out. Good luck, Frozen Mint, on your PMPT debrief. Congrats on passing, by the way. I think you've done the hard part already. I think the debrief is probably easy, but unless you don't talk to people, then that might be hard. But for me, I'm like, the hard part's over. You did the exam, you did the report, debrief, just talk for 15 minutes about what you did. Good luck. But you got it. So I do PJPT, PMPT, OSCP in that order. That's the order I typically recommend things in. You can switch PMPT and OSCP if you want. I definitely do PJPT before both of them. You can even skip PMPT or OSCP if you want, but having both is beneficial in my opinion. I think you got a good plan. I will eventually be getting Pentest Plus to renew CYSA Sec Plus and Net Plus. That's a good move. That's actually pretty much what I did. Background music name. The background music is Carl Casey White Bat Audio. If you look up on Spotify, it's Carl Casey, but on YouTube, it's White Bat Audio. It's also in the description of all my content, because it's the best royalty-free music that I have came across. Do you have a question how to be consistent? Man, you're not going to like the answer to this, but here it is. Bro, if you're not consistent and you struggle with motivation, then like there's nothing you can do. Like, if you're not hungry for success, then you're never gonna make it. Okay? Like, you have to want it. You can't just like kind of want it. Like, you have to like deep down in your soul crave whatever you're chasing. And if you struggle to be consistent, then you're in the wrong field, and you need to find something you're passionate about, because consistency, while it's not necessarily easy, but you're only able to be super consistent if you enjoy the work. So if you're not enjoying the work and you're not consistent, then you're in the wrong field. You should want to do it more times than not, because if not, then the passion's not there, and if the passion's not there, then success becomes very difficult. And if you are struggling with like burnout, or you're not having fun, that's a completely normal feeling. I have that. There's days I don't want to study. There's days that I don't feel like reading a book. There's days that I don't feel like watching a course or taking the exam or writing that report or exploiting that vulnerability, whatever it is. Now, exploiting a vulnerability is always fun, not gonna lie. Writing reports is boring now, but I do it anyways because it's part of the job. So I would say it's pretty normal. But the thing is, if you lack motivation, then there's no way to teach yourself to be motivated. Like, you have to be sick and tired of the position that you're in to like get to the position where you want to go. And if you don't become sick and tired of where you're at, then you're never going to grow, right? So that's kind of how it is. Consulting and GRC are easier ones, but only if you work in big companies. Small companies will make you do multiple things. You do learn more, but the point of life is not to work anymore. Nah, bro. I disagree. When you retire, you expire. Like, look at everybody who retires at an early age. Like, they die faster. Like, when you retire, you expire. I firmly believe that. I don't think the point of life is to not work. To work a bunch and then to not work anymore. I think the point of life is to work all the time and enjoy your work. There's a lot more fulfillment there. And if you can't work, like if you're waiting for retirement, then you just haven't found your passion. It's back to that passion thing. Like, you should want to do what you're doing for the rest of your life. And if you're not doing what you want to do for the rest of your life, then you're in the wrong field. And you need to do something you're passionate about, because you can make money off it. Literally any passion, any hobby, anything. And if it's not there for you, then you're in the wrong position. For me, like, I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing, cybersecurity, until I'm at least in the 70s. Now, I might step down from like a technical role to a more managerial role. I can see myself doing that, but I don't want to get my technical skills completely rusty, because I like what I do and I feel like that's my purpose and my like calling in life. Okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong for if you want to just do a bunch of work and then retire, but that's not what I'm trying to do. And if that's what you want to do, then fine. I'm not trying to tell you to live your life, but I don't know. I think it's when people retire, and because me personally, I start to go in like a phase of depression when I don't work. Maybe I'm weird. I'm a workaholic. I like to do stuff. I like to produce things. When I make content, I love to see the final result of hours of hard work. I love it. I love, like, my certification wall. I look at it, I'm like, dude, I really did it. Like, I love seeing the results of like hard work, and that's what gets me. I enjoy that. And then when I sit down around and play video games for a week straight, I'm miserable. And you know what I mean? That's just me. Like I said, I'm not trying to tell you how you live your life, but something to think about. And that's not the motto I live by. I'm truly, like, I'm in it for life. Whether blue/red team positions, by having some knowledge in which an upcoming project like this, do you think it will benefit? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. Small and medium businesses can get the bang for their buck with CrowdStrike. Interesting. I don't really know much about CrowdStrike, to be honest with you, because I'm not as a pen tester, I'm not really in charge of securing things exactly. I just look for bugs and I report them. That's out of my wheelhouse. I know CrowdStrike is really big in the scene, and I know that they have a good product. But honestly, I couldn't tell you how much CrowdStrike costs. Could not tell you. I know it's not cheap. Do you think it's more different than using something like Metasploit to exploit one vulnerabilities? Wouldn't that be equal to script kiddie? Yeah, I mean, if you're just using exploit soft Metasploit, that would be kind of like a script kiddie. But the definition of script kiddie is things that you don't understand what's going on. Like, if you understand what's going on under the hood and you run a Metasploit script, like, that doesn't make you a script kiddie. That makes you efficient, right? Script kiddies are people who don't understand what's going on. Like, they don't, you know what I mean? They're truly just running a script, like firing, and they don't understand what's going on underneath the hood. If you understand what's going on underneath the hood, there's nothing wrong with running scripts and doing Metasploit modules, because oftentimes that is the best way to break in. And just because you ran a script doesn't make you a script kiddie. Now, if you don't know what the script is doing, that makes you a script kiddie. I think people throw script kiddie out there too much, because even script kiddies have to have a certain level of knowledge. Like, people like want to put down script kiddies, but they're just as dangerous as some threat actors. If you got RCE on your external server, and some script kiddie can just grab a script and exploit it, boom, you just got pwned by a script kiddie. You know, they're just as dangerous, if not more dangerous. They don't know what they're doing. This is wrong, bro. The richer get richer, and the middle class, lower class will suffer even more. I mean, He said America's middle class don't know economics, want the flash of life, and live on credit. That's a fact. That's a fact. This is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make money, guys. And that's another point I'm gonna bring into the show eventually. We don't got enough time to really dive into it, but it's okay to be in the field for money. It really is, and that's one of the reasons what keeps me going. People ask me, how do you stay motivated? It's like, bro, there's paychecks at the end of this. You know what I mean? There's paychecks. So there's nothing wrong with making money at all. And that's one thing. That's one of my biggest gripes with the field is like the anti-capitalist movement. I'm like, if you're anti-capitalist, like you're probably not going to be successful, and you probably will stay lower class. That's a hot take, but I said what I said. But yeah, what you're saying, Fireball, there's nothing wrong with like working hard and making a lot of money, bro. There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's totally okay. That's totally my goal, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Like, there's no shame in that. Like, half the people want to break in this field because there's a lot of money at the end of it. If there wasn't money to be made, I would not be here. I would not be here. Like, I would be doing something else. And that's a fact. And that's one of the reasons what keeps me motivated to work harder, is because the more I know, the more I learn, the higher my salary goes. The higher my salary goes, the less stress I have because the less money problems I have. And I think it's okay to look at that. This is not regarding what I said earlier. You're late on the comments, but I don't worry. You're on another segment. Oh, okay. My bad. I don't know what you're referring to. Yeah, I was slow on the comments, so I understand. Does anybody else have any questions? We'll do a couple more minutes. I'm caught up in the comments now. Sorry, it took me a minute to get there. This was 22 minutes longer than I wanted it to be, but it is what it is. I like hanging out with you guys. I actually like these live streams a lot. Nose, neck, lung, stomach. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to say it, the rest of that. Soda. This is a bunch of body parts. He's selling body parts on the black market, boys. Stay frosty out there. They're selling body parts on the black market, guys. It's 1 a.m. 5th cup of coffee. Cramming for OSCP in 2 weeks. Just saw your live. Gonna be a good night. Welcome to the stream, Likes. Thanks for stopping in. I saw your comment. I replied to it. Sorry we missed each other at DEF CON. It would have been great to meet each other. But, you know, I didn't tell anybody I was going to DEF CON prior to. I literally waited till like half the first day to tell anybody I was there. Because I just don't like to tell people where I'm at. But I'll be there next year. For sure. And I'm going to be at some other conferences that I told you about. And now that we're on the topic of conferences, I'll be at B-Sides Columbus. I'll be at B-Sides Cleveland. I'll be at Wild West Hacking Fest. I will be at Wild West Hacking Fest Mile High, most likely. I haven't bought the ticket yet, but I probably will be there. And those are for sure going to be. Good luck on OSCP, by the way. You got this. 5th cup of coffee at 1 a.m. Woo! 1 a.m. Where are you at? Where are you located? Yo, what's up, Wi-Fi addict? Good evening, man. Glad to see you in the chat. You came in right when I was wrapping up. But if you drop a banger of a comment, we'll have another 20-hour conversation if you want. A 20-minute conversation. And yes, I agree on learning more, but not working more, which is what a lot of smaller cyber tech companies do. They'll make the worker make up for the short staff. Well, that's what I'm talking. So I understand where you're coming from. So like the title of the stream is like the work-life balance, right? And I'm not saying like put in a bunch of unpaid work for your company. You should not be doing that. You need to have healthy boundaries between you and your employer. I'm talking about putting in the work into your own self-development. That way you're constantly employable and you're constantly able to ask for more money. Because the more you learn, the higher your salary goes up. And the more you learn, the more valuable you are, the more companies you're gonna, the more secure you'll be in your position. Definitely don't be putting in a bunch of hours after work. week after week after week after week. I mean, like I say, it's inevitable that's gonna happen. Like you do need to put in some extra time as an IT worker. That's just a fact of the matter. But if your employer can't respect your work-life boundaries, then that's a red flag. And I'm not saying to slave away at your employer for no reason. I'm talking about after work, level up, because you're not going to get time to level up at work, because at work they want you to work, they want you to get tasks done, and when you're doing tasks done, they're often repetitive, and when you're doing the same thing over and over again, the growth and the learning starts to slow down. And the only way to actually grow and actually learn is to set time aside and level up your skills. Kyser's my date for DEF CON next year, 10 out of 10. Who said that? It just says LinkedIn user. I can't agree. I don't. I can't agree to a date on these circumstances. It just says LinkedIn user. I want to leave it a mystery. You can DM me later. What happened to my oh, there we go. See you at next year DEF CON. It's gonna be a great time. You focus on broader skill sets or specialize in certain pen testing areas? I like the so a little bit of both. I think it's okay to like dial in to a couple different pillars, right? So for me, it's web app pen testing and it's network pen testing. Those are the two things I'm doing. I'm not laser focused on network pen testing. I'm not laser focused on web app pen testing. I kind of build them up equally, but I'm not going so broad where like, oh yeah, I want to be a cloud security expert and I want to be an IoT pen tester. I did start going an IoT route, but I'm like kind of getting off that path. I'm not getting into mobile pen testing at all. I have no interest in that. Really, I just want to be a web app and network pen tester. And then I want to sort of focus on AI. Like that's going to be my third pillar. And I think that's the way I'm approaching it. Like get really good at 3 different things. So for me, it's going to be web app, networks, and AI. I have no AI. I have pretty good like ChatGPT prompting skills because I use it all the time. But I'm just scratching the surface on like becoming an AI expert. So that's one thing I want to focus on because it is the future. And I want to be an AI pen tester. But yeah, mobile testing, nah. Wi-Fi testing, kind of easy. I mean, I have done Wi-Fi assessments. They don't pop up very often, but when I do, yeah, I can do that. IoT testing, sort of dabbling in it. Not going to go any deeper unless I have to, unless my employer needs it. And that's another thing, guys. When, I talk about work-life balance and don't let your employer walk all over you, but at the same time, if your employer says, hey, pen test team, we need to do an IoT pen test, and we don't got no IoT pen tester who wants to volunteer for that. Like, if you volunteer for that stuff, that's going to actually open up doors. It's going to be hard, but that's one thing that's helped me out in my career so far. It's just volunteering for things that people don't want to do. As far as small companies affording lawyers in cybersecurity as well as other stuff, maybe merch, utilities, marketing, etc., these services become subscription-based, then increase later in price. That's a fact. Yeah, the subscription price. I mean, I have faced that myself. I don't own a business, but my content creation is kind of like a business. In a way it is, but it's not an official business. Like I don't have like an LLC or anything like that. But it is like a form of self-employment, and my website subscription went up. I use Wix to host my website, and they just DM me and they increased the price like $200 a year. I'm like, bruh. So yeah, that's actually absolutely a problem that you need to be considerate of when it comes to businesses. I really enjoy your no BS take on cybersecurity. Doing great. Yeah, man, I'm just winging it, bro. But I'm glad you like it. And yeah, it's a mentality that's got me far in life, man. Just put in the work, bro. Don't be afraid of the hard work. Everyone is looking for shortcuts, and the secret sauce, man, to success, from what I observe from other successful people, is that you gotta confront the hard work and do the hard work consistently. And that's the only way to get ahead. And if you're looking to coast, that's cool, but that's not me. So basic course on AI will give you some knowledge on how it works. I did read How AI Works book from No Sort of Press a couple weeks ago. It's a pretty good book. Really confusing, I ain't gonna lie. I gotta learn. I don't learn too much while I'm reading. I gotta watch videos and read. I gotta do both. I gotta like watch like tons of videos. I've been thinking about doing some AI certifications actually. There's an Azure AWS one. There is an Azure one. There is a Microsoft one, and there is an AWS one. Probably do one of those. Get certified in AI and just start taking some formal courses and get some certifications under my belt. I like certifications. I don't know if you figured that out yet, but I'll probably do an AI cert. How can they afford so though, right? Not put. I'm not sure you're talking about Fireball. I think we're past the topic again. What's your opinion on ISACA AI certs? I didn't even know ISACA had AI certs, bro. ISACA's got decent certs. They pop up on job postings a lot. I don't have any ISACA certs, so I can't really tell you how quality they are. Same thing for CISM. CISSP is absolutely worth it. It's the most in-demand cybersecurity certification on the market. I have it. Hard certification. Takes a lot of time to get it. Melts your brain while you're in an exam. It's multiple choice. It's not practical, but it does have a good foundational topic for knowledge. Oh, so you need to be a CISM or a CISSP to take the ISACA AI cert. I did not know that. Huh. That's interesting you say that. I mean, that's weird. That's weird. I don't think there's a problem there. Like, hey, like, you can't get our cert unless you're a CISM or a CISSP. If they want to do that, then is it legit or just a money grab? If it was just a money grab, they would let people take it. Anybody take it. So there's that, right? Because if it's a money grab, they wouldn't block it off as certain candidates. They would open it up to everybody to purchase it, right? That's just one way of thinking about it. I mean, certs are money grabs. Make no mistake about it. Most of them are all for-profit companies that offer these certs, and there's nothing wrong with making money. I want to keep emphasizing that. It's if you get value out of it, if it levels up your career, then it's worth it. If it doesn't level up your career, then don't do it. But I don't know what's the objectives on that cert, so I can't really speak on that. Do you feel like volunteering for IoT pen test for a client when you don't have the required skill, does that bring value to the client? Not critiquing you, just curious your thought. That's a good point. Does it bring value to the client? Yeah, it does bring value to the client. Here's why. Because our client trusts us with their audits. Our client trusts us with their pen tests for their web app, their network, and their mobile pen tests. So they're also trusting us with the IoT test. And even though I never did an IoT test, I've done dozens of other pen tests, both on the network and Wi-Fi and web app pen tests. So it's not like it was my first pen test, it was just my first IoT pen test. And I did learn a lot. I knew it was coming up months ahead of time. So I read the IoT hacking handbook. It's on my shelf back here, actually. Read it cover to cover. And then I also took the TCM Security PIPA. Is that what it's not? Is it PI? Practical IoT Pen Test Associate. Yeah, PIPA. I took that whole course. I don't have the certification, but I did the whole course. And I did it, watched every video multiple times. So I prepared myself going into that. It's not like I figured everything out on the fly, like with this IoT device in front of me. I put a lot of time into training myself to be ready for that pen test. So yeah, there was a lot of value there because I prepared for it. Now, if I didn't read the book, if I didn't do the training, and I was just going in blind without that training and that experience, then yeah, I would say there was no value there. But the fact that I prepared for it for months ahead of time, there was value there. The farmer Preener has a question over on Kick. A Kick comment that isn't asking me to buy viewers and followers. Gosh, there's so many of them on Kick. They're like, buy viewers. Like, bro, I don't want to buy viewers, bro. I don't care how many people are watching right now. Like, it isn't gonna do me any good. Anyways, the question. For someone that has no cybersecurity, security/tech experience, what's a good area to start learning? Self-learning? It depends on your personality. Self-learning, college, or certifications. Certifications are a type of self-learning. I like certifications, and that's where I point Peter's at. But you don't have to go that route. A lot of people haven't gone that route, but certifications I think gives you a good base. I would recommend watching my video, How to Break into Cybersecurity, on my YouTube channel. Something along those lines. How to start cybersecurity from scratch or something. I can't remember the exact video. Seems like a tough position to be in when there isn't a solid tester who can do it. I feel like declining the test would be a more acceptable response. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But if you, look, there's a, what's his name? Richard Benson, the guy that runs the Virgin. Is that his name? I think that's his name, right? Richard Branson, not Benson. I knew I had to name the last name a little wonky. Richard Branson. So he has a famous quote like if an opportunity comes your way, say yes to it and then figure out how to do it after that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that, in my opinion. And some people might disagree, but that guy's a multi-billionaire and he made multi-billions of dollars with that philosophy. And if there's a problem with that, then I don't know, man. I think that's perfectly okay to have someone come with you with a problem and you don't know how to solve it, and then you're like, let me figure out how to solve it, and then solve it. There's nothing wrong with that. In my opinion. Because if you don't take opportunities that come your way, then you're never going to grow as a company or as a person, right? You're never going to grow as a person. And as a pen testing firm, like if we don't take opportunities, then we're not going to grow. That's my 2 cents on the matter. If there was no money here, I would go back to fitness and part-time Uber. It was fun too. Yeah, if there's no money in cybersecurity, bro, I'd be playing video games, man. I'd be playing video games every day and watching football. Back what I used to do before I joined cybersecurity. That's what I used to do all the time. Watch football and play video games. It was a great life, but I was broke because I had no. I had a work ethic because I actually had a gaming channel. I stream video games. I stream video games on Twitch, and I built up a pretty big following, and I made a little bit of money. Did not that much, but I covered my games. Like it covered the cost of the game, money I spent on the games and stuff. It was fun while it lasted, but yeah, I was super motivated on growing that channel, and then clearly saw that there was a lot of competition that I couldn't compete against. And I played Mortal Kombat competitively, and I couldn't make it to the pro level just because I didn't have what it took. So then I'm like, yeah, I gotta stop this and do something else, and then boom, cybersecurity. Well, much love you, Kyser. I have to jump off. I have to catch you later. Always informative. Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for being here. Glad you enjoyed the stream. Death Bestower, I feel like you're here all the time, so shout out to Death Bestower. He'd be like, man, you didn't stream last week. I missed it. I'm like, sorry, bro. Like, I feel like every time I don't stream, I let Death Bestower himself down. Well, my job here is done. I successfully made Kyser rant for an additional 20 minutes. Time to go wrap up mobile pet test. I'm due for a week. Bro, why did you make me rant for another 20 minutes? I have to go to the bathroom. I have to pee. I've been drinking a lot of water. Nah, it's all good. I enjoyed this. This was supposed to be an hour live stream. We made it an hour and 40 minutes. Screw it. I had fun. I enjoy hanging out with you guys. But I do have to go to the bathroom and I do have to get off. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for your questions. Hopefully you got some value out of it. If not, feel free to critique me or disagree with me. I'm open to have healthy conflict and healthy conversations. And yeah, your opinions are valued, even if they don't align with my own. Because I know I have some pretty strong opinions, and not everybody wants to live the life I want to live, and I understand that. And if I'm not for you, I'm not for you. But if you have similar mentality, then you're in the right spot. So yeah. You are having motivation, but don't feel bad. I just appreciate what you do, bro. Yeah, man, I'm glad I can motivate you. Dude, I motivate myself. A lot of the here's a fun fact. Is like, I write the things I write. I make the videos I write to motivate myself. Okay, so I'm my my own biggest cheerleader, I guess. Because I need to remind myself that, yeah, I got to put in the work, you know. Next week we'll do another live stream. It's gonna be a different topic. Can you do a video on how to create your checklist for real-world penetration testing? Bro, here's a fun fact of the day. Bro, I don't do a checklist, bro. You know, maybe that's not something I should admit, but I ain't gonna lie, bro. I have my methodology kind of locked in my head, and I don't really like do a checklist things. Maybe I have notes that are not that well structured, but I will like go up and down my notes and like, oh yeah, I need to try this. Oh yeah, I need to try that. But yeah, I don't really have a checklist, man. I kind of go crazy out there, bro. I think hacking and penetration testing is more art than science sometimes, man. But I'll leave you there. I digress. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Peace out. Take care. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. Hit the like button. Hit the follow button. And I'll see you on the next stream. Peace out. Take care. Have a good one. Kyser.